Ah, this team makes me want to drink. We are live. This is episode number 26 of Savages in the Bronx. Live from Studio 54 in New Jersey and REM Studio in Staten Island, New York, airing exclusively on Twitch and powered by StreamYard. And welcome back to the show on this Tuesday, October the 12th, 2021. I'm your host, Rich Rivera, and I'm being joined by New Jersey and soon-to-be Staten Island softball legend, Tom Wospil.
I mean, already Staten Island legend, obviously, you know, with the highest batting average recorded on the Ball Busters in the history. So, yeah, basically a legend anywhere softball's being played.
I think it was a 625 clip, an extraordinary day. I think you lead half the team in RBIs after one day of playing. And it was very well received because we won. And your services were definitely required for that day. And we appreciate it. I only wish that sort of offense was in the Yankees lineup last Tuesday during their wild card game elimination to the Red Sox.
Doesn't that feel like a month ago right now?
It feels like a century ago.
It feels so long ago. And it was like the game, it's not even would have started a week ago. It would have started in like 4 minutes or whatever.
Right. And in almost a few minutes, we would have heard another great call by the legendary John Sterling on the Giancarlo Stanton single in Fenway Park.
Yeah, that wasn't great.
No, it wasn't.
And he was
great.
there too. He was in the house.
It was definitely the most tweets I've ever shot off in a single night, regardless of what kind of account I was managing. And I mean, as you just kind of mentioned there, Stanton, I think he was like a combined 6 feet away from having a 3-homer day. It was just, you knew. So you hang your hat on the guys who did their job, and then you look at this rest of this team, and you're like, what the fuck, guys? What the fuck?
You know, it's a weird game, right? What was the final score of that game? I kind of forget. It feels so long ago.
I feel like I want to say it was 6-2.
6-2. It definitely was a lot closer game than that. Right. So you had first pitch of the game. Anthony Rizzo hits an absolute piss missile. I think it was 113 miles off the bat, right at first baseman. And I'm just like, God damn it. Stan hit a ball that I don't know if it would have been out in the first inning at Yankee Stadium or in most stadiums, but at least it's a double. You know, it's good extra bases. Stan has another ball that won in, I think they said in every stadium other than 2, it's a home run. Mm-hmm. I don't know who with the other one other than Fenway it wouldn't be out. Maybe Detroit, because Detroit's really far.
I was just about to say, I think it is Detroit.
Detroit would have made sense. But compounded with that is the Yankees Judge only out at home because the Red Sox misplay the ball first and then have a great relay to get him. If they just play the ball correctly, he just holds and it's second and third with 1 out. So there's that. Glaber hit a absolute bomb to right field that Renfroe was just like positioned well, made a really good play on it. It was a lot of bad luck, honestly. I think the Yankees played like okay in that game. Cole was not good. They couldn't get the hit. They couldn't get the break. It seems like,
and that's what it comes down to. And for fans that were ready to ride Gerrit Cole out of New York, and I'm like, you know, if it wasn't for Gerrit Cole, we wouldn't be playing this game on this past Tuesday. Gerrit Cole got you to that. Yeah, he had a bad day. He had a bad game. He's had a couple of bad games over the last few weeks.
Been hurt.
And it happened at the wrong time. This is a guy who's going to finish second place in the Cy Young Award race behind Robbie Ray. And I think he had a few gaffes in there where I don't think he has a first place finish now. But yeah, it was a tough one. The Yankees offense fell the fuck asleep, but you also look at the structure of that lineup, Tom, and were you expecting anything different? I mean, it was Rizzo, Judge, Stanton, and nobody after that.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, there was other hard hit balls. Glaber hit a ball that, like, the double is probably a home run in the stadium, home run in a lot of stadiums, a double in almost every other stadium other than Fenway. There were, you know, balls put in play. It's just they got unlucky. They seemed they just missed a lot of pitches. They had faced Evaldi just a week before, and they really tagged him. And it looks like they had a lot of good swings again. These swings just didn't work out. And we start the segment with a John and Susan situation, and it ended with one. And that's baseball, Susan. I think that's how
baseball,
it went.
Susan. And that is the 2021 season for the New York Yankees. It was a love-hate relationship with this team. I think for the most part, you hated what they did, and then like you love how they turned it on after the trade deadline, and then they just snatched the energy like right after that. They were hot going into the postseason. It was such a love-hate. I think we're just better off moving on from this team, figuring out what's next to make this team better in the offseason, what kind of retooling that needs to happen during this offseason, which we're going to get to in a little bit. But I think it's kind of a blessing in disguise the Yankees lost in the wild card game, because I don't know how they would have fared against Tampa. Obviously, Boston did very well. They're moving on to the championship series. Credit to them. But yeah, it's I think it's a blessing in disguise that the Yankees didn't move it past the wild card game. A game that honestly, for the most part of the season, probably didn't deserve to even be in.
Yeah, I guess it depends, because is it going to be a blessing in disguise because they're going to make the moves that they should make that we're going to talk about later? Yeah. If they don't make the moves, then who cares? They should just won, I guess, because they weren't going to make the moves anyway.
Right. Anyway, we're going to get into our Bronx is Burning news piece in a little bit. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at Savages Bronx. You can follow Tom at
Wospil54.
And you can follow me at Rich J. Rivera on Twitter and Instagram, that is. And also, we'll just keep you posted, because now that this is our final in-season episode of Savages the Bronx, kind of sad, Tom, that it is the last weekly episodic show that we have. As we will start to move on into the off season and get into our off season programs. We'll have 4 episodes to get us to season 2 of Savages. Yes, we've been renewed for season 2. StreamYard and Twitch proved it. So we will be back for another year of Savages. But until then, we'll have some off season episodes that we are going to schedule, and we will let you know when those first few off season episodes are on our Twitter page. So stay followed for that information. Now, Bronx is Burning. Our only news piece is about the manager, Aaron Boone. Now, last week on the show, we had a hot take, hot fake, where I came out and said that the Yankees wild card game was going to be the final game managed by Aaron Boone. So far, I'm about half right, because it was the final game of the season. Now, is it a matter of Aaron Boone staying with the organization? Now, according to ESPN and other sites, they believe the Yankees are going to retain their manager for the 2022 season, as his contract comes to an end very shortly. Tom, what was your takeaways from the news on the report? Obviously not confirmed by the Yankees. And where do you see Aaron Boone in 2022?
I mean, it does sound like he's going to be coming back. We've talked about it before. I know you talked about it a lot on leading off as well. It's that, teams are managed by the front office now. They're not managed by, a guy on the bench. And Boone is the epitome of that at this point. So bringing it back, I don't think it matters, because they aren't going to, this regime set up the way they are with the mindset that they've proven to have, is not bringing in a Buck Showalter. They aren't bringing in, not that he would come, an Alex Cora, who is going to just do what he wants to do. They're gonna bring in someone who kind of thinks along with them. So at that point, what's the difference? If it's Boone, if it's me, if it's you, if they, people give Boone a lot of a hard time, but it's either he listens or they fire him.
Right.
Like they're not, like, that's how it's gonna go. So I do like Aaron Boone. I think he has made some mistakes. I would like to, even though I don't think a lot of the season was his fault, I think the team needs a new tone, a bit of a harder tone. Usually you see this in most sports, that a team will go from one coach or a manager, from a very pro player guy, a friendly guy, to a bit of a hard ass and more of a disciplinarian. And then you go back and forth. And I think the Yankees do need that, because I think some of the issues that they've had and we've talked about have been them losing some focus and then not paying any consequences for them. We don't need Billy Martin out there trying to fight people in the middle of the game, but
I mean, I'll take it. I'd like to see it.
But they're in situations like when Glaber didn't run to first in that game, or the goal they were getting blown out by Tampa, he should have been pulled from the game. And I know it's like it's the second last game of the year, and you need him for the wild card game, but like there needs to be some accountability. And I don't think this team has it, because I don't know if that's how the front office wants to handle it, or if that part's on Boone. But that's the kind of stuff I would like to see changed. But if his front office is the same, it's a moot point. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, if the point is if you're gonna let Aaron go to just hire Aaron 2.0, then what's the point of firing Aaron Boone to begin with? Just might as well stick with the guy if that's the plan. Now, my personal opinion, should that have been the plan? No, I agree with you. I think there should have been a new voice in that Yankee dugout. And again, this is all reported. There could be changes made anyway, and what we could be reading right now could end up turning out to be false. But yeah, I like the idea of having a new voice in that dugout, even if that voice, is reciprocating what the front office wants on the field, but at least having a guy that's going to be more stern with the players, as you mentioned, kind of more hard ass. I think that would be a good way to motivate this team. And, some organizations, some players probably wouldn't take kindly to it. A lot of players did support Aaron Boone and know that, hey, he has our back and whatnot. And, it's a tough call. It is a tough call because if they would have came out and said instantly that we're not renewing Aaron Boone's contract, then you kind of have a hope that maybe there is going to be organizational changes and not just coaching staff, but with the structure of what the team is going to be. And that would have been a good start, or at least that would have got us into the room of the conversation of, hey, maybe the Yankees are actually going to try to change what this team's about. But to say that, it's most likely looking like he's going to be extended, then it just seems like it's probably just going to be status quo, same old system, same old organization, and that makes me pretty sad.
I agree. I just hope a lot of the issues that they've had this year were their approach to the regular season as well. They didn't take it that seriously. They punted so many games that they could have won. Again, they could have won one more game, and the wild card game would have been at Yankee Stadium, and they easily could have done that. We had a lot of heartbreak throughout the year. If a lot of those heartbreaks went our way, we shouldn't have even played the wild card game. And I don't think a lot of that is on the front office. Chapman giving up the home runs in Minnesota or against the Angels, or Chad Green blowing up in Houston. Like that's not Cashman's fault. It's not Boone's fault. That's just bad execution by the players.
Right.
But if that stuff goes our way, we should have been in the ALDS playing, the winner of Boston, Tampa. Now, who knows how that would have turned out, but I think we would have felt a little bit better about things.
Yeah. Well, we'll touch on it a little bit later in our segment tonight when we talk on possible off-season moves for the Yankees. And before we do that, just make sure to subscribe to us on Twitch. I know Twitch has gotten some flack lately with some security issues. I think they've gotten under they got it figured out. So we're all set here, nothing off kilter with our account. So we're still trucking along here on Twitch. So just make sure to download the Twitch app, subscribe to Savages in the Bronx, and that's the easiest way to know when we go live. And then you can hit the notification in the corner of your phone, your iOS, Android, and you'll be right into our show like the two viewers are right now. They did a great job. So it's now time for you guys to do your part. And before we get into our Threes Company segment, we'd like to remind you that our show, as always, is presented in part by Sincerely Allie Studio. Make sure to check out Sincerely Allie's Etsy page, Sincerely Allie Studio, etsy.com/shop/Sincerely Allie Studio. And since 2020, she's been making great custom candles, wine glasses, and much more. All those products and more are on her Etsy page. Make sure to follow her at sincerely.allie with 2 E's on Instagram. And for all things for your self-care needs, Sincerely Allie. And a big thank you to Sincerely Allie for being our sponsor for all our in-season episodes and to continue that partnership into the off-season. But now it's time, Tom, for Threes Company. And Threes Company is presented by Sincerely Allie Studio. And Threes Company is a segment that we have only done once on this show. We have 3 topics at hand that we're going to basically complete a sentence on. And you'll see in a little bit what we mean. And our topic tonight is the Yankees offseason. And obviously, it is October the 12th. There is still baseball to be played during this postseason. And unfortunately for Yankee fans, this American League Championship Series could have been a worse matchup between the Red Sox and the Astros. I mean, it's just like, I have to ask you, I guess, before we get into this segment, I mean, who are you even pulling for in this series?
Oh, jeez. I'll be honest. I think I was one of the few Yankee fans who, at least going into the ALDS, was kind of rooting for Boston over Tampa. I really do think I hate Tampa more than anyone else right now, and just mostly Kevin Cash. I hate them. But then you watch them, and then you watch them get just so unlucky with the Renfroe ball and the kind of how they play, and you're like, I kind of want them to beat them. Oh God. I know the cliche answer is I want it to go 7. I want it to be a war of attrition, and I want them to just be served up on a silver platter to the National League. If I had to choose, I guess I would choose Houston. I don't like the fact that Boston has won 4 titles since 2004. In our lifetime, the Yankees have won 5 titles. I don't like the idea of Boston tying that, and then the whole got rings thing just becomes in how many years? They hadn't before that. They hadn't won since the 70s. So I guess Houston, but yeah, war of attrition, 7 games. Game 7 goes 29 innings. And then the game 1 of the World Series is the next day. It takes so long to play it that they're like, listen, you got to fly to LA from Boston. And another game would be in Houston. Whatever. That's not how it works. Anyway, they have to fly a long way. They got to play, and then they get swept.
Yeah, that'd be a wonderful thing to see. I actually answered this on leading off and said Boston before I make you spit out your beer. There's been more animosity, I think, between the organizations with the Yankees and Astros, especially since 2017. I don't want to see this team in a fucking World Series. And unfortunately, the better of 2 evils, give me fucking Boston. And give me Boston getting smoked in 4 games by whoever. Giants, Dodgers, Brewers, Braves. I don't give a fuck.
Brew Crew.
Brew
yeah,
Crew.
No, I agree. I mean, I kind of don't care. You just want them to get smoked at the end. I just think it'd be tough in division to deal with Red Sox fans, hey, we won another World Series. Yankees still haven't won one. And the Rays saying we just keep winning division titles, and you guys and the Jays are coming up hard, and being the 4th place jokes are not something I want to deal with. So I don't know. Just get smoked in the
championship. It doesn't matter who you are, but I really would not like to see Houston there. But it would also go against my prediction of the World Series matchup for this year would be the Dodgers-Astros rematch that I predicted on leading off, which also you can check out 7 p.m. Eastern time, normally on Mondays, but that is not the case. We are going to be moving up to 8 p.m. Eastern time, the normal slot for our Monday Savages show for next week. How sad is that transition from Tom to Espo? All right, Three's Company. Let's get into it. Three's Company, we're finishing off a sentence. Yankees offseason is our topic. We start off with this one. The Yankees absolutely have to
add a impact lefty bat this offseason. And the 2 that I have circled, the one is one that the Yankees are going to be tied to a lot in this offseason is Corey Seager in LA. And the other one, who I kind of didn't realize was going to be a free agent at the end of the year, still playing right now, is Frederick Freeman of the Atlanta Braves.
Pipe dream.
He's going to be a free agent. I mean, I don't know. He'll probably end up signing.
Pipe dream. I mean, yeah, he's a free agent, but it's like I already have him in a long-term contract with the Braves. So does it matter?
He's a free agent this year.
Yeah, I know, but he's the king.
He's gonna sign there. Yeah,
even though he's a free agent this year, he's going back.
He's probably going back at the. So yeah, I need the Yankees to sign an impact lefty bat, and although part of also what I want someone to bring some leadership to the clubhouse. I thought what Rizzo brought was really important. Freddie Freeman's just a better player than Anthony Rizzo at this point. I don't think anyone would argue that. Seeger's someone who has won a World Series, might win another one this year, so is coming from a winning franchise. And we've talked about it before that the Yankees don't have a lot of winners on their team at this point. There's not a lot of guys there that have won anything. So I think bringing in someone, a Seeger who has won a World Series, or even a Freddie Freeman, although they haven't even made it to a World Series, he does carry himself in a way I think that would command confidence. And I don't know. I know it's a pipe dream on Freeman. I think Freddie Freeman's also like my favorite player. It's not a Yankee, so it'd just be cool to bring him in, bring in that legacy of big lefty first baseman for the Yankees. I think it's something the Yankees have to do.
You wouldn't be the first person to want Freddie Freeman, and you will not be the last to have you heartbroken when he re-signs with Atlanta. I don't even think about it because he's going to go back. And here's the other thing, too. You sign Freddie Freeman to a long-term contract. You're basically telling Aaron Judge, all right, it's been nice knowing you. You have to pay Aaron Judge when you have two guys that are making big-time money right now. And
I don't think that's necessarily true, though. I mean, the CBA is up. We don't know what's going to look like. The Yankees reset the luxury tax this year, so they, in theory, have the money to spend, but they, in theory, will spend it. I know they have some other big payrolls on the team, but I mean, listen, I think they have to feel embarrassed at this point, and I think they have to go out and make big, splashy moves that matter. I think that would be a big one.
This could be a point B to what you had just said, but the Yankees absolutely have to acquire a shortstop. And whether that means acquire via trade or sign the shortstop, obviously the free agent market, this is the best shortstop market possibly ever. And you mentioned Corey Seager. Corey Seager would be the perfect guy if the Yankees had to make one move and one move only for free agent signing and put all their ducks, put all their risk in one player. It's Corey Seager. Makes the most sense. Lefty bat, World Series champion, a leader, somebody that I think would make sense position-wise, considering the Yankees aren't moving Gleyber Torres from second base. And
I don't think they should.
I don't see, if you sign Seager, then you really shouldn't sign Rizzo, but you really shouldn't re-sign Rizzo regardless, because DJ LeMahieu needs a position on the team. And honestly, after his bicep injury, being stressed by playing third base, I don't think LeMahieu is a third base option anymore, Tom. I think LeMahieu would strictly have to play first base if he doesn't have the second base position.
I think that the tricep issue, I mean, DJ LeMahieu isn't a 39-year-old guy. I think he's going to recover and he'll be able to play third again if the Yankees need him to. I know he can play first. I just don't. That's not what I want out of first baseman. Especially if Gleyber Torres is gonna listen. He's gonna be a second baseman next year, and then who knows if he's gonna be a Yankee long term. I just don't think you could really get by with a slap hitting singles hitter at first base when you need to score some runs. So yeah,
and I get it, because first base is always profiled as the power position. But guess what? You have that in your outfield with three guys who should be doing it all the time. And that's where the power is.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, but even still, I mean, with Gallo, we have him for 1 year. I think you need a big lefty bat. I really do. And I think those are the ones that could make sense. We'll see what happens with it.
Yeah, we will. That is definitely an absolute have, and I agree with you. I think the Yankees definitely do need another lefty bat, and that is whether it's pipe dream Freeman, it's re-sign Rizzo, bad move, or it's go out and get Corey Seager. They definitely need another lefty in there. It cannot just be Mr. Gallo. All right, our next point here: the Yankees should highly consider
signing a big name veteran pitcher to the starting staff.
So who are you taking out? Not to quote the Michael Kay show, but who are you taking out?
I mean, so your staff right now, you got Cole.
Correct.
You got Tyone, you got
Correct.
Monty, you
Correct.
got Nestor, and then
Correct.
Sevy's coming back. Those
Correct.
are your five.
That's five.
You need more than 5 starting pitchers going into a season. Those 5 guys are not making 35 starts next year.
Domingo Germán, David Garcia, Clark Schmidt. Who are you taking out?
I mean, I don't know. I see a lot of those guys can be in the bullpen. Start convert. Like Domingo can go to the bullpen. I think the reason why I think they need a big veteran on that rotation is I think they need that leadership there. I think part of it of needing leadership in the field is they need some leadership in the starting rotation. I think Garrett Cole is a phenomenal talent. I think he can be a leader, but I think I would want someone also with him there who's been to the promised land. And in my head, one of these these guys, the two I highlighted, I'm being very like WFAN right now. You're not signing these guys to long-term contracts because they're older. You're not signing Max Scherzer to a 6-year deal. You're signing him to a 2-year deal. You're signing him to that Randy Johnson contract, which granted didn't work out for the Yankees, but still.
You're not getting Scherzer for a discount, though, because he's old. Scherzer may finish with the Cy Young this year in the National League.
No, but he's not signing a 5-year contract either. Again, the Yankees have the money to spend. I think we need to get, they reset the tax. They have to spend it. They have to spend it this offseason.
You are WFANing it right now.
I am.
Why would they pay more money when the team that finished with 100 games yet got knocked out yesterday has a $60 million fucking payroll?
Because they're smarter than the Yankees, and they don't have those smart people.
So be smarter. You don't need to sign players. You need to retool
Well, they're not going to be smarter because they're not going to get rid of the people who make those decisions. They have people who sign people who make a lot of money.
I'll ask you a question. We'll keep it internal with Savages because you know it more. You know it as much as I do. When we've done our monthly confidence rankings, what position has kind of stayed consistently towards the top
pitching.
3?
I agree. The starting pitching. But if you tell me right now, and granted they were very good all year, and the bullpen was good for most of the year, then they had some pretty bad spots. If you tell me right now the Yankees win that wild card game, how good would I feel with Monty in a big game, with Taillon in a big game, even with Nestor, for as much as I love them, they're unproven. I want some more leadership on this team. I think what this team really lacks is veteran leadership of guys who have won. I think Judge is and can be and should be a future captain of the Yankees. I do think he is. But we know that Judge isn't a big vocal leader. At least he doesn't seem to be. Maybe in the clubhouse he's different. But they need people to say, listen, I've been there. I climbed the mountain with the 2016 Cubs. I climbed the mountain with the 2019 Nationals. This is what we need to do to win games. And I think they need that, especially if they keep Aaron Boone, who doesn't also seem like the most vocal guy. You need some. That's why I loved Rizzo there. And if they go to re-sign him, who knows? I don't think you can sign him to a crazy long contract. Right? He's 32 years old. It's probably 33 for next season. They need that. I do think they need and people to hold people accountable. Because Boone's not going to do it. Front office isn't going to do it.
No, I got you. And when it comes down to it, and this is where I kind of am back and forth on that, you can never have enough starting pitching, right? No team, and even the Dodgers, who had a masterclass pitcher in each spot of the rotation, now they're in the postseason, and it's all right, the 3, but after that, it's it's kind of a drop off. So you can never have enough starting pitching. I think it comes down to the timing. I would be more than content with the Yankees maybe not going after a starting pitcher because it truly wasn't the problem in the 2021 season, and maybe waiting till the trade deadline to see where the team is at. If you are in need for a veteran starter to put you over the top, and kind of going back to our trade deadline talk back in July, if you need a guy that's going to put you over the top, then that would be the perfect time to get that starting pitch you need. But if you're saying that rotation is going to be Cole Severino, Monty, Taillon, and Nestor Cortez / Luis Gil / Domingo Germán, I feel pretty good with that. I don't feel all right, that's a weak point. I feel okay with that.
I feel good about that. Against the Tigers in April. I don't feel good about that. I don't feel good about that against the Astros in October. I don't. I love those guys. But you need big arms. You need guys who've been there and can do it. And listen, the last big Monty start he had, and I'm not an anti-Monty guy. Last Monty start he had against Tampa in a game the Yankees needed to win to secure the wild card, he got destroyed. And he's gotten destroyed at times throughout the season. He's been good at times as well. But I think you need some impact and also just to set up you light a fire under some of these guys, right? Saying, listen, starting pitching, you were great last year, but we weren't good enough. We didn't win enough games. We needed to win more. We're bringing in Max Scherzer. And also,
Tom is seeking a higher leverage Corey Kluber replacement, basically.
And also, listen, I think part of that too is, let's just say the Yankees had traded for Max Scherzer at the deadline. I think, what do you think they would have done to Garrett Cole? Hey, Garrett, you might not be starting the wild card game. Max Scherzer is going to start the wild card game. I think Garrett Cole would feed off that. You need that competition.
Garrett Cole would have to still start the wild card game because he's still the big money pitcher. That's just the game. That's how the game is laid out. You paid him to be that guy. He needs to be that guy. He always needs to be that guy, no matter who they bring in this offseason.
You gotta in a winner take all game. You need to put the guy that you think is going to get it done. And if you don't think it was Garrett Cole at the time, I just think a lot of the Yankees seem comfortable, and I want to bring in guys who have won before, who could push some of the younger guys, some of the guys who have had the mental just gaps throughout the year to be better. And they, Corey Seager is someone you have signed to a massive deal, a long, big contract. But some of these other guys, granted, Freddie Freeman would have been the same, but like a Scherzer, it's a bit. He is a mercenary. You are bringing him in for 1 or 2 years. Pay him. I don't care. Pay him $65 million for 2 years. Bring him back.
I have a wild one, and again, I don't think the Yankees should go for a starting pitcher. I feel the starting pitching was one of their top strengths of 2021, and I feel confident going to at least a trade deadline with that rotation right now. How would you feel about taking a gamble and a fucking half? And this is depending if he's allowed to play baseball. Trevor Bauer.
No, pass. Out. No, zero chance.
Oh, 0 chance. Okay.
That would. I'll be honest. I'm not like a pick at the stadium guy, but if they signed Bauer, I'd have a hard time rooting for this team.
We want Scott Kazmir for $500,000 and a spring training invite. That's your guy. All right. Corey Favs here in our chat. Pitching wins ball games. As simple as that. Mets fell apart once DeGrom went down. Mets ran through 10 plus starters. Need to have that depth. If you're trusting Severino to be a number 2, you're in trouble. Zip Shooter 28. Severino had 1 good half season. That's it. Prior to that, he was mediocre at best, and injuries can't rely on him. Tino the Filipino. Love that name. Is it worth breaking the bank, though? And this is what I'm saying. It's not when the team that has lapped you in the standings 2 years in a row has a $60 million payroll. How do you go back to the Steinbrenner and say, give me more fucking money to spend?
Because the Rays play a different game, and with the Rays game they play doesn't work. Like, it gets them, it's like, granted, they did make the World Series last year in a very odd year. I'm not taking away from the Dodgers winning the championship. I think that whole like Mickey Mouse title thing is stupid. But listen, like what they've done, it historically hasn't been working in the playoffs. The Rays need to go out and sign Max Scherzer, if I'm being honest. They need to go out and stop pretending like they're a bunch of just like, poor like penny pinchers. Like, they have the money to sign people. Like, these owners are millionaires and billionaires. Yeah. They can afford these guys.
Right.
They can't afford a whole team of them, but they can afford more than they're putting forward. And I think
I can agree with that. And I think, and we had a great question in leading off. What would take the Rays to the promised land after this first round shocker of elimination? But yeah, I think you're right. I think they showed this past trade deadline that they can make a big underrated move, like bringing in Nelson Cruz, but maybe you have to go bigger than that this coming all season or next trade deadline to get you to the promised land. And Tampa has that luxury.
Nelson Cruz that was a rental. Like, I think they need. I mean, this isn't Savages in the shitty trop, but like they need some guys too, because I think you do need to like have some proven winners. I think it's hard to win. I have a belief in like mostly all sports that it's hard to win with a bunch of not just unknowns, but guys who haven't done it before. You need people who have either gotten there before or a team who has gotten close and then lost it. And I think the Yankees don't really have anyone like that right now. And that's what I want to put into this team. I want winners. I want people with fire.
I didn't even answer the sentence yet. The Yankees should highly consider dismantling their front office / analytics team. Great transition from what we were just talking about. Because at the end of the day, the structure of this organization is still the same status quo. And if the structure doesn't change, it's going to be the same deal. And with the Yankees and the way they progressed from the 2017 ALCS to get knocked out there, they get knocked out in the first round the next year, they get knocked out in the ALCS, they get knocked out in the ALDS again, to now get knocked out of the wild card game. Guess what? It's going down, Tom and folks. The team needs to change its organizational habits if they want to see success in a new age of baseball. They cannot rely on home run or bust, but that is the Bronx Bombers way, because guess what? It sells t-shirts, folks. And unfortunately, I think this team has met its match with other organizations that are just, as I mentioned, lapping them with just better baseball. And that's what this organization needs to do. They need to dismantle their front office, but they're not going to fucking do that. But they should highly consider changing out the analytics department.
I'm going to be honest. So that was my third one because they're not going to do it, but it's what they should do. That was my third one. It was basically, I guess, to piggyback on that. If you're not going to do it, it's you give Cashman in the front office an ultimatum. You say next year is truly World Series or bust. And if you don't at least make the World Series, you're all out of jobs.
Right. And
they'll let them defeat and whatever. But still, I still think they're going to do it. They're I think Brian Cashman has done too much for this organization to be fired.
Yeah.
I really do. He has done way too much. I think they need to give him that ultimatum behind the closed doors, and if they don't make it there, he needs to resign. I think that's what they.
And if I would have turned that into fire Brian Cashman, that would have been just too medieval of me to say that, because there's more than just Brian Cashman. There's more people that have to answer to Cashman. There's more people Cashman has to answer to or hear from. And maybe they need new voices in that front office. That's just not Brian Cashman. So
yeah, well, Cashman also brought in all those other guys and gals. So, you take him out. Usually, right, you take out the GM. They get to pick the new staff, including the manager. And I think that even ties in with Boone, honestly. You say, hey, we're going to bring you back. We're bringing you back for 1 year. You guys are all in this boat together. Figure it out. And if you don't figure it out, someone else is going to figure it out for us. I just don't think they're going to do it.
The number 3 topic here. The Yankees won't do this, but they should. I know you answered yours already.
Yeah.
But the Yankees won't do this, but they should trade one of their outfielders. Now, I say that because, again, back to my second point. You want to get away from that organizational philosophy of boom or bust. You have guys that are those. Now, obviously, we're not moving on from Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is a Yankee for life.
He's not boom or bust.
What?
And he's not boom or bust.
He's not and he's proven he's not a boom or bust. Giancarlo Stanton, probably if there's any offseason where there is a fat chance that you can fucking scum a team over and possibly trade him to another organization, this could be the offseason to just get at least half that contract out of New York. But they're not going to do that either. So why even mention that? Gallo is not going anywhere. He's there for 1 year. Why would a team take that guy on after the half season he had in the Bronx? The Yankees are stuck with him for that year. And Aaron Hicks has literally one of the worst year-to-year contracts I have ever seen if we're just moving the salary aside. And it would be great if the Yankees were able to get away from their current philosophy by moving on from one of those players, but it's just not going to happen.
I don't think it really can, right? Judge, like I said, I think Judge should be a future captain of this team. I think if the Yankees can make a good playoff run next year, on or partially on his back, I think they should say, hey, Aaron, here's your nice big fat contract. By the way, you're also captain of the team. Stanton is the one who has the value right now, but I don't know. I think they've gone through the ups and downs with him. He's been playing the outfield now, so he's cleared up that DH spot for him. And who's going to want Gallo at this point? Now, granted, the Yankees traded we talked about at the time, he was like some mid-tier prospects for Gallo. You could get more mid-tier prospects for him now. He has value, but I don't know. And Hicks, no one's going to take on Hicks. He's been hurt. But when Hicks is right, you do love what he can do as a switch hitter, as an athletic player. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. The one thing that I wanted to mention before is they should do, and I guess it depends on how some of these other things go down, is that they do also need to trade Luke Voit. Like they need to get him out of town. Not for anything he's done wrong, but there's just the way this team is set up, there's just not room for him. His value, who knows what it is at this point. He led the league in homers in the COVID season. He was hurt a lot this year. When he was there, he had some moments when he was electric. And then they decided they weren't going to play him anymore because I guess he was hitting too many home runs, I think was the thought there. So they got a lot to do. It's going to be it's going to be very interesting to see what moves they do make, because it's going to be a lot on how much are they willing to spend and how much of that philosophy are they willing to say was wrong. And how do they address that? I don't know.
I can say, though, and I don't even know if I want to throw a hot take on it just for the sake of saying it, but
let it rip.
I don't think this is going to be a banger of a Yankee offseason. I think you're going to have a similar kind of strategy that they had last offseason, whereas make the minimal moves that they needed to do, try to address certain problems with low-risk moves. But that shortstop is a glaring hole right now, and that is going to be a move that's going to result in an impact player filling that position.
I don't know. I think that,
but outside of that, I just don't know if it's going to be a banger of an offseason for this
I think it has to be. I think the whole point of last offseason of doing the trading Adam Ottavino so you could dump salary so you could sign like Corey Kluber, and the whole getting Rugi Odor because you don't have to pay him, and getting Rizzo that like the Cubs eat salary so you pay, like you did all of that to stay under the tax. And you got under it. You have to spend the money this offseason. They have to make the moves that will impact this team. I think it is that important that if they don't do it, I think it's going to be tough for, I think the front office is really going to hear it. I had a question for you. So this is kind of, I guess I can kind of go with all this as I try to slyly get my computer charger because my computer's going to die. Yeah. That would have been bad. That'd be good.
That would have made great Twitch video.
It sure would have made great video. Idiot falls off chair.
Right.
So Boone's back. It sounds like neither of us think this is his fault, but probably not who we would want to manage the team. Who would you like to see manage in your perfect world the 2022 New York baseball Yankees?
I want that old guy that brought a team, probably the closest thing that we've seen to a dynasty since the 90s Yankees. And I want to see Bruce Bochy come out of retirement to manage this team. That would be one hell of a fit, but he'd be completely against the organization philosophy on how to run teams. So things need to change in the front office before I hang my hat on Bruce Bochy being the manager of this team. But again, you said perfect world. So perfect world also says that the organization changes its shit and Bruce Bochy is given the managerial job and he's trying to take this team to a promised land. I would love to see that guy in that dugout with his pedigree, with his championships, with his Hall of Fame resume, managing an American League team for the first time in his career. There is rumors that Bochy could possibly take the Padres job, a job he's had before. So his name has been tossed in there. He's the same guy who retired just a few seasons ago. In a perfect world, I would say Bochy. I think it's an easy one to go with, considering there aren't a lot of veteran options with a better pedigree than Bochy right now. So fuck it. I'm going to go with the fan favorite.
There you go. So I'm going to pull another WFAN here because I'm just Mr. WFAN right now. So I want someone with more fire on the bench. I think it's also been proven recently that you don't need a guy who has won before, but you need someone who has a good pulse of the team, someone who can bring some fire, someone who can manage a pitching staff. And although this person is kind of tied at the hip with another former Yankee right now, I would love to see Jorge Posada manage this team. Give me Georgie. Give me a former catcher, someone who didn't take shit, who can manage a pitching staff, who has the fire. I would love to see it. And in a world where they say, listen, actually going back to the ALCS, part of me almost wants the Red Sox to win the World Series to have a signal out there to the Yankees and I guess other teams, but I don't care about them. Listen, you don't need to do this managed by the analytics. You need someone who has a pulse of the team. I don't know. I mean, again, it's a guy who hasn't managed before, to my knowledge. I would love to see it, though. I think it could be a guy, again, who has won, who could say, listen, I've won 5 titles. You should probably listen to what I say. Or did he only win 4? I don't know if he was not there in 96. He wasn't there in 96. 4 titles. Whatever.
I had a great quote from a good buddy of mine, another ballbuster softball player, and
Probably one with a lower batting average than me.
Follow the program, John Hernandez, who said, who in regards to Alice Cora is given the script, but is allowed to improvise. And I think having a manager that could be able to just do that with not necessarily giving the middle finger to the front office, but basically having his own version of the script, I think that would be the perfect storm for this Yankees team.
I agree with that. Because I think at this point, they have pregame meetings with the front office. And to me, Boone seems like the guy who's just like, yep, okay, we'll do that. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yep, nope, that guy's not available. I agree. Yep, okay. Hit him there? Okay, fine. Sure, let's do it. And I think a guy like Alex Cora goes into those meetings and says, no. I'm hitting my guy here. Like, listen, like, I don't care if he, what your numbers are saying. I know what the work he's been putting in. I know the swings he's been taking. Right. And I know what, is about to happen if I hit him, here in the lineup, or if a pitcher is going to give me more than 85 pitches today.
Right. Ears in the front office, eyes on the field. And I think that would be the guy that would best fit the New York Yankees. But again, given the news from earlier today and over the weekend with Aaron possibly being extended, it doesn't seem like that philosophy is going to change in the Bronx. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. Savages Bronx is on YouTube. You can check out some old clips and episodes. We'll have more episodes uploaded in the coming weeks, so make sure to stay tuned for that. And also give my other show some love. And the ticker says Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern time because the damn thing's not updated. But we're actually moving over to 8 p.m., the old Savages of the Bronx time slot, every Mondays up until the ending of the World Series. So we'll be live on Mondays, 8 p.m. Eastern time, leading off, hosted by yours truly and my co-host, Espo, the life of Espo. You'll follow him on Twitter. And we talk about baseball. And we're going to keep our coverage going to the postseason. And unfortunately, this American League Championship Series matchup that's going to be starting rather soon. But yeah, we got you covered on leading off. So make sure to check us out on Twitch as well. We're going to finish up our show, Tom, with one of our fun segments, a player to be named later. It was like our first fun segment that we did on this show all the way back in March. Our player to be named later segment. Tom and I got to come up with a random Yankee. Give the other co-host a couple of clues of who that Yankee could possibly be. Tom, who do you got for me, bud?
All right. I got a guy who played 1 year with the Yankees. That year was 2003, the year Aaron Boone hit that majestic home run.
Kareem Garcia.
It's not Kareem. Kareem Garcia played multiple years with the Yankees.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. At least I think so. In my head, he did. Maybe I'm wrong.
All right. What else you got?
This guy he has had a long career. He played 16 years in the majors.
16 years in the majors.
16-year career.
And only played 1 year in 2003.
Yep. 15 years in the NL, 4 years in the AL. So
Raul Mondesi.
Not Raul Mondesi.
Did he also play multiple years with the Yanks?
I think he did. It's also not Raul Mondesi Jr. If you're thinking.
No. Alberto Mondesi, you mean?
Yeah, that is what I'm thinking.
All right, Mike Stanton. 2003, 1 year, played 16 in the big leagues. What was the split on the AL to NL teams?
15 years in the NL, 4 in the AL. He played on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11 teams. He played for one team for 7 years. No other team he played for more than 3 years.
Is he an outfielder?
No. Infielder.
Rondell White?
No, not Rondell White.
All right, what's his position?
I would say I'd have to see what his splits were. He played a baseball reference lists him as a third baseman, first baseman, and a catcher.
Todd Zeile.
Todd Zeile is the correct answer.
Let's go.
Todd Zeile. I didn't realize Todd Zeile played 16 years.
Another former Met, I think. Too,
yeah,
right?
and that was the thing. I looked, and he only played 3 years for the Mets. And in my mind, he was a Met forever. And he played for the Cardinals for 7 years. And then after that, he played for the Dodgers for 2, Rangers for 2, 1 year, and then 1 year with the Rockies, Phillies, Expos, Cubs, Yankees, Orioles, and the Marlins. Although some of those years were trade years. He had some, where he got traded midseason kind of deals.
Long career span.
Long career. Good for
parts
Todd.
Of 3 decades.
Yeah.
Look at that. Todd Zeal. Good one right there. All right. Well, your guy also had a long career. He had a 14-year career in baseball, but
Raul
also
Mondesi.
like your guy. Huh?
Is it Raul Mondesi?
It's not Raul Mondesi. He played 1 season with the Yankees as well in 2010.
1 year with the Yankees. So he played with the Yankees at the beginning or the end of his career? Probably the end, obviously. It's the Yankees.
It was towards the end of his career.
I always want.
He played 2 more seasons after his stint with the Yankees.
I always want to say Tony Clark, but Tony Clark was before that.
Tony Clark was already in the PA.
Probably at that point. So towards the end of his career, played 14 years. Well, give us position.
He's a pitcher. Mainly in his career, he was a starter, but for the Yankees, he was a relief pitcher.
Is it? Oh, what's his name? Oh, why am I blanking on his name?
He wore the number 39.
Jamie Garcia? Jaime Garcia?
Jaime Garcia, no.
No? God,
not a bad guess, though.
That felt so good.
Wow, that's another random.
God, that felt so good. I quit because that felt too good. I felt like I just really drilled
I'll keep note of Jaime Garcia for a future play to be named.
He might have things in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
What? God, I thought that was. God, it feels like it was longer ago. I give up because I felt so good about Jaime Garcia.
This pitcher was a 2-time All-Star. He was a Rookie of the Year. Played most of his career, the 12 years of his career, with the Chicago Cubs. Led the league in strikeouts in 2003.
Oh, is this? This isn't when. This is when we brought in Kerry Wood?
Yes, sir. Kerry Wood is the correct answer. Yes, mostly played with the Chicago Cubs. Corey Fowles tried to guess Freddie Garcia. But yes, it is Kerry Wood. Ended his career with 3.67 ERA. I think he's also one of the only few pitchers that had a 20-plus strikeout performance in the single game.
Him, Mark Pryor, his teammate, and
Scherzer?
Huh?
Is it Max Scherzer also in that?
I think it's someone else that has like a milestone card in MLB.
Always go back to the show. Now you got me looking.
Kerry Wood was the second to do it, I think.
Clemens, Wood, Randy Johnson, Max Scherzer. And that's it.
Is that correct? I mean, is that correct?
It's only 4. Oh, I mean, Roger did it twice. God, he was good.
I thought.
Oh, Scherzer did it twice too. No, no. I'm incorrect. Sorry.
Oh God,
Roger did it twice. Yeah, Roger did it twice. Kerry Wood once. Randy once.
Oh, Pryor maybe had 19 once.
That's it.
Then maybe Pryor had 19.
That's all I got.
Jeez, just shy. So Steve Carlson had a 19. I think that's an MLB The Show card. Seeger, Ryan, Coney. That's it. I guess. What did Pryor have? I thought Pryor had a no-hitter with them. It was like the year after, I remember the Kerry Wood one.
That Cubs rotation shoved back in the day. Where it was K. Wood and Pryor and Carlos Zambrano, Matt Clement.
I remember that Kerry Wood strikeout game. It was so electric because he was so young, and it was just absolute filth. And then that poor guy fell apart. And
I tell you what, Kerry Wood did a job for the Yankees in that year when he was a relief pitcher.
He was.
I think he pitched. I just had the base reference page up, but I think I saw it was a .69 ERA for the half season he was there. He was basically the setup man to Mariano that year. Yeah. 0.69 ERA on the money, 26 innings pitched.
24 games. Jesus. He gave up 2 runs.
Ooh, who did the Yankees get? Who did they trade for him? Nobody's. Andrew Shive, Matt Cusick, nobody. All right, good trade for the Yankees, but it didn't work out for anything. But that's
he was very bad with Cleveland before that. He had a 6.3 ERA when the Yankees acquired him. Jesus.
I mean, so he was headed to the bullpen.
Listen, that's one of those trades. I know we're like wrapping up here, but like those are the kind of trades that Cashman finds, though. Like he finds these guys who, he finds the Luke Voits and he finds the Gio Urshela's, and that's what saves his job so often.
Yeah.
He says, "Oh, let's bring Kerry Wood back into it," and he's phenomenal.
I mean, how about this season with Wandy Peralta and Clay Holmes? I mean, those are two acquisitions that had Yankee fans scratching their head. Why would he do that? And guess what? It ended up working out. Andrew Heaney, not so much. I think he was trying to catch lightning in the bottle there. But I think more times than not, Cashman can hit on these players that you don't really know of, aren't sure of. He took a shot, with some spring training invites that ended up paying dividends for this team this past year. Lucas Licky and Andrew Velasquez. So, and then Jay Bruce. But Cashman's got a job. I'm not thinking that that's going to be the move. And again, you have a lot of guys in that organization that feel the same way of how that team should be run. So it doesn't all fall on Cashman. Yeah, he's the guy at the helm, but it is going to be an interesting offseason, and we're definitely going to talk more on it. And that will bring us into our special announcement. So obviously tonight concludes our in-season episodes for Savages in the Bronx. So it's kind of a sad, bittersweet day, but there's more episodes to come in 2021. We'll have some special off-season episodes, starting with our episode 27 on November I'm waiting for the ticker to show because I don't remember. Monday, November the 15th. November the 15th is going to be our next episode, 8 p.m. Eastern time on Twitch. So it's going to be the same time and place as our normal Monday shows, but obviously we're not on a weekly basis anymore. And this is going to be following the award season in baseball. So we'll get the recap if any of the Yankees were lucky enough to win some awards. And, of course, we're going to have more time to talk on off-season moves that the Yankees need to make. And if there are any early signings, re-signings, trades that happen in November. And plus, we're coming up on Turkey Day as well. So we're right around the corner from Thanksgiving once that episode hits. But that's going to be in a little over a month from now, Tom. And there you go. So our off-season episodes start November 15th. But tonight, unfortunately, we close out our in-season shows for the year 2021, our first season of Savages in the Bronx. It's been a year, man. It felt like just like yesterday. That was February. We were starting up our warm-ups on the previously named The Freeze podcast. But we decided to change the show early on to the more acclaimed Savages in the Bronx. And it's been one hell of a first season thus far. Obviously, we have a few more episodes left of this first season, so it's not really a swan song, but for weekly episodic shows, that's it.
Listen, I think if renaming the show, bringing it back to the Freeze, gets Freddie Freeman with the famous Atlanta Braves Freeze, who runs around the track, gets him here, I'm ready to rebrand, go back to the throwback unis if we need to.
Yeah. If we have to do it, throwback uni night, I'm in for it. It's been a great ride so far for this first season. Definitely gonna miss doing this on the weekly basis, but obviously, we'll be back here sooner than later, man.
Sure will be.
So quick thank yous. I want to thank you guys all for all your support throughout the year. Obviously, I hate to thank them, but I want to thank the New York Yankees. Without the Yankees, we wouldn't have this pod to begin with. And it's been a crazy year of coverage. We did a lot of extra innings episodes when we were covering the Corey Kluber no-hitter and the trade deadline moves that had happened back in July. So there was a lot to talk about while baseball was happening. It was very sad to see them get knocked out last Tuesday, regardless of how you felt about the team. It's still tough to watch them play their last game of the season. Met fans know that best. But yes, it was tough, but it's been fun. It's been fun monitoring the Twitter page all season long. That's been a lot of fun during games and just throwing out our quick thoughts on the team. And all the guests we've had on the show, John Jastrzemski, who kind of started us off hot with, making his appearance and while he was in between WFA and The Ringer, real cool stuff. Jake Montgomery, who got a lot of press on Twitter after a great tweet that ESPN picked up. Mark Schwartz, the play-by-play man of the Somerset Patriots. Really cool to talk to him. And we've had great guests in between as well. So we thank all you guys. We thank all our supporters, our chooches in the chat, which they like to call themselves, in our Twitch chat. And Tom, you sir, more importantly, got to thank you for being a great co-host throughout this regular in season. Without you, this show would not be possible because the plan was leading off. There was no Savages plan before you came along. Yeah,
I'd like to thank myself as well for carrying Rich's lifeless, loud mouth through 6 months of Yankee baseball. I couldn't do it without me either.
Thomas. I can't wait to not talk to you for the next month. All right, guys. Well, we will see you here on November 15th for the first of our off-season episodes right here, Twitch, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Take care.